I used to love RPGs. In my older age, I find my playtime is better spent across multiple titles and sinking too much time into one game. So, when Final Fantasy XV Pocket Edition was announced for the Switch, I was excited. A new experience from the Final Fantasy series, and it was only about half of the playtime. So, the day it was announced, it was released on the eShop already, so that was really cool, and, further excited me a little bit more. And when I saw the price, they had it on sale for $20, so it was a no-brainer. So I picked it up right away, and I dove in. So, who is Final Fantasy XV Pocket Edition really for? The story begins to unfold right away and never stops unrolling. Like putting a toilet paper roll at the end of a leaf blower and putting it on high. To boot, NPCs have you do minimal tasks in towns, and their dialogue is lacking severely. Not bad voice acting, the lines are all pulled right from the game and sound great. No complaints there. They just don't say much. Point stands though, the story bits breeze by just as fast as the combat sections. The areas tend to be on the small side, and an arrow is placed under the player telling them where to go at all times. This makes the whole thing feel even smaller. The map is already the size of a fun snack. Come on, just let me find my own way around. Which, again, is what I thought I wanted. So, how about the combat? When the game first started, I was having a ton of fun. After doing the short NPC missions in town, you can buy new equipment for the team and upgrade abilities in the skill tree. Then we head back out into battle. Noctis can switch between a few different weapons. He can also use a swift dodge roll and perform this cool dash ability to close the gap between him and enemies. It really was enjoyable to weave in and out of combat. At first. Then the novelty ran off. I was curious about the combat system as the game went on. Would it expand? Short answer, no. If I had to compare the combat to anything, it's Secret of Mana, but cut down and boring. At first I was bashing the attack button over and over with this huge grin on my face. That got stale real fast. The combat is so uninvolved, you can just hold down the attack button and the game essentially just plays itself. Even the boss fights were just pushovers, providing no real challenge or requiring any forethought. It's like a hack and slash without the same kind of reward for combat prowess or the large enemy count. The choice of weapon swapping is arbitrary and didn't help to mix anything up. I didn't feel my heavy sword was staggering enemies more than the long sword, so the incentive for creativity just isn't there. Visually, I liked what they did. The PS1 style models have a certain charm that brought me back to an early time when RPGs were my thing. So, it didn't bother me when conversations were going on and there was a lack of mouth moving. It could be worse, right? They could just plop text on the screen and force us to read it. Then it would be just like the PS1.
Prince Noctis.
Yeah.
All the towns were packed with little detail and furnishings to bring more life onto the screen. Battlefields are equally as populated with little details, when you're not fighting on a flat plain, that is. There are some tight quarters with snipers placed on higher ledges that should be dealt with first, so you gotta dash up there and stuff. It was cool, nothing too unique. It still wasn't all that fun to explore and experiment with the combat. In conclusion, this was made for phones. I knew what I was getting myself into. So the concessions were excused from the start. Still, It would have been nice if, like, tapping or holding the attack button would respectively do weak and strong attacks. One would be faster, one would cause some sort of staggering damage. I don't know. It's not like that would have been hard to implement on a phone. And I really like the characters and how they are portrayed, there's always this back and forth conversation. It really feels like you're on the adventure with them. But what's an adventure when you're placed in the kiddie pool? Well, it's essentially Final Fantasy 15. I mean, you get the main story and some bits from side characters. I couldn't help feeling like there was so much missing. This really isn't for the person who wants a pared down RPG experience like I thought I did. So, now I just buy the full game and play through that instead.